I am happy to be joined with the CEO of PsyBio Therapeutics, Evan Levine, joins us this morning. How are you, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me, Chad.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Company's about to go public later this week, but obviously wanted to have you on and get a chance to know your story a little bit more. And always I like to ask this question when I'm having a lot of people on, and that is, how much advancement have we seen, I guess, over the last 6 to 12 months pertaining to the medical side of psychedelics? Because it's appear like, there's a lot of attention and a lot of growth that's happened over this past year.
There certainly has. So back in 2019, when I was looking for transactions and looking to get financially exposed into psychedelic space, there were a handful of companies. I just spoke to an investor last week in Switzerland, told me he's got 520 companies
Wow.
on his list now. Now, I'm not sure what all these different companies do, but in the last 6 to 12 months, yes, there's been a lot of advancement, a lot of interest in the space. This research has been around for decades, and it got turned off back in 1970 because of the Controlled Substances Act.
Right.
And for the last 50 years, the way we treat mental illness is barbaric. I mean, if you look at the side effects of most of these products, besides general psychiatry, if you're going to take these drugs like serotonin reuptake inhibitors, you look at the label, and there are side effects such as weight gain, sexual
Yeah.
dysfunction,
Yeah.
suicidal thoughts,
Yeah.
and now there's a paradigm shift within the industry.
Yeah, that's incredible. So a handful of companies 12 months ago and as many as 520 now is what you're hearing.
That is what I'm hearing,
So
and there
i-
is a
is that a
lot of
good or a
interest in it.
bad thing for the industry?
Well, biotechnology started back in the late 70s, early 80s, and there were just a handful of companies around, and now there are thousands upon thousands. So
Yeah.
I think it's great that there's a collaborative effort to address these diseases, and most are going at it at different angles.
Yeah. Well, let's get a chance to know you a little bit more in the company. You run a neuropsychiatry company that specializes in areas like treatment for depression, for anxiety, PTSD, substance abuse. The drug development SciBio works as in the form of psychedelic inspired medications. As we see clinical trials progress down the right road, we're seeing a shift in ideology around these drugs that you just alluded to. So my question is how big do you think these breakthroughs could become in changing the future of mental health and addiction?
Oh, I think it's going to be absolutely significant. That's why I'm choosing to spend my career right now developing this company. So we are a drug development company.
Yep.
We're looking at different combinations in different plants and fungi to optimize an experience that it does address these very issues. But I think the industry is going astray. It's already moving outside of just mental health disorders into neurological disorders, metabolic disorders. I mean, it seems to me that these molecules seem to be wonder drugs. And for the
Right.
last 50 years, research, was unfortunately turned off.
Yeah. You've worked your entire career in biotech. Um, robust due diligent experience, both on the research side along with the capital market side as well. So you have an inside and out working knowledge of what makes successful companies in this space tick. For those that may not be familiar, maybe share a little bit of the background of who you are and the direction that PsyBio Therapeutics is headed.
Sure. Yeah, I actually have been on the periphery of biotechnology for most of my career. I started off in capital markets. I ran the convertible bond departments for Hambrick and Twist and Dillon Reed, and the responsibility was new issues in derivative securities and biotechnology and tech companies.
Interesting.
And then when Dillon Reed got bought out by Swiss Bank, I joined a private equity firm called Brown Simpson, and there we have dedicated $500 million to structured financial instruments into public biotechnology and technology companies. So going from investment banking, where the idea is to collect a fee and keep the
Yeah.
products moving to portfolio management gave me a true appreciation of what due diligence is like. And we had a team of MDs and PhDs that were performing this due diligence before we make a significant investment in a biotech company. It's very, very difficult to do due diligence, but we had excellent people. And then when I sold my partnership out of the private equity fund, I bought out an insolvent biotechnology company down in San Diego
Okay.
called Adventure Pharmaceuticals. And I did a full recapitalization of it. We bought in at a very small valuation. I replaced most of the management team, kept a few key players. I removed the entire board of directors and put in guys that I knew, CEOs, CFOs, public biotech companies that could guide me in restructuring it. And we got to work, and we raised the money. The stock, I got it uplisted off the OTC to American Stock Exchange. We
Yeah.
had a high tick of over $500 million. I raised $80 million for that company while I was
Wow.
running it for 7 years. Carl Icahn backed me on a $20 million round, and I had multiple institutional analysts covering us. But more important than that capital market expertise that I brought to it and the restructuring skills that I was able to research the company, I've got robust experience running phase twos, phase threes,
Yep.
505(b)(2) equivalents, North America, South America, Europe. I have extensive experience interacting with the EMA and the FDA. So I bring a full package of A to Z uh, to PsyBio
Yeah,
Therapeutics.
needless to say, that's quite the resume. What do you think, through all your experience in this field, has taught you about, I guess, structuring the right team in place?
Well, it's interesting. The team pretty much is everything. And I used to joke when we do due diligence, don't talk to the CEOs, don't talk to CFOs, find
Yeah.
your way into middle management. And that's really where you're going to hear what's going on in the company. But you've got to have people you trust. Right now, the person on my our scientific advisory board, Dr. Joan Robbins, was one of my first hires at Adventurix, and she came in, chief scientific officer, rolled up our sleeves,
Yeah.
and we got to work. Didn't lay ourselves with consultants. I was able to trust her, and we did this together for 7 years.
Wow. So what kind of
Not the person.
relationships do you think that you have as we get through this these clinical trials, but obviously it's important to have working relationships and connections with the FDA. So where do you sit with that, and what's kind of experience do you have when it comes to the FDA and the timeline you think this will play out with how we see more trials being progressed and more research that we learn from this overall industry?
Sure. Well, I mean, the FDA, I could oversimplify it. It is very simple. You file an application. So
Yep.
our goal is by the end of this year to file an investigational new drug application on a cocktail that we're working on. So we're developing psilocybin as a monotherapy, and we're developing psilocybin and its intermediates to study this entourage effect. Uh, at Miami University, we have full access to our own vivarium. So we just hundreds and hundreds of animals looking to optimize these intermediates that reside within the mushroom that offer this entourage effect. So we will file an investigational new drug application with the FDA. There's a
Yep.
process. It's basic instruction booklet. You know exactly what you need to do. There's pharmacology, there's toxicology, there's building your IND, there's your CMC section, which is your manufacturing.
Some of the conversations that we've had prior to this is that there's a lot of questions that go around in this industry, and there are many biotech companies in the drug development space that you question some of the research that's being done. Not sure if you believe that or not, but if you do, what are one of them that makes you stand out from, say, companies that you know maybe are lacking in, let's say, some of the research versus companies that are real serious contenders within the space?
Are you referring to the psychedelic space or the entire biotechnology arena?
Well, probably more so on the psychedelic space.
So again, I don't know where all these companies came from, that they're over 500 right now, and there were a small amount about a year and a half ago. But I think there's going to be a lot of competition on who owns what and who has the intellectual property, because
Yeah.
I think it's well established what the IP landscape looks like right now, and there's a
Right.
lot of people coming in making claims that they're going to be doing certain activities in the future, and it's black and white. They'd be infringing on other people's patents.
Right. So if you're, an investor looking to invest in this space and you want to understand what companies to invest in and what companies not to, what would you say, I guess, are some of the questions they should be asking?
Well, there's only about 30 public companies now, and I think I don't follow it that closely, but and a lot of them do very different things. As far as how many of them are actual biotechnology companies in there, I don't do full due diligence on everybody out there, but Field Trip is a biotechnology company, Simon's a biotechnology
Yeah.
company, and Compass is a biotechnology company, MindMed's a biotechnology company. So those those type of companies is what we will look like. They some of them have different businesses within, but we're just focused on drug development. But we want to look more like a Compass and a MindMed in a year and a half.
So last thing I want to ask you, what would you say is the most important message or narrative that you want to build within this space, and why investors should look to your company very closely for when you do go public?
Well, I think our company is unique. I think that the team really brings some fantastic experience from
Yep.
A to Z, from, being able to finance it, to talking to investors, to actually building molecules, to manufacturing and scaling, to putting drugs in the clinic. So we have a great team. We have a platform technology that we have the global rights. Any tryptamine that comes off of this via bacterial synthesis will be owned by us, and we can develop it for the clinic. So the point of all this is to go into clinical trials.
Share with us as well, with my viewers, when you plan to go public and under what ticker symbol on what exchange.
Well, very exciting. We're going public this Thursday morning
Yeah.
on the Toronto Venture, and the symbol is PSYB.
Excellent. Well, listen, all the best. Congrats. I appreciate you connecting with us. And we'll be obviously following you closely the next couple of weeks and months as this story continues to develop within this industry. Appreciate your time, Evan.
Appreciate it, Chad.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Evan.
day. Bye bye.